Hey family, I'm coming to you from the Mandavi Center parking lot where we often practice Taiko, and today I'm going to provide a Taiko lesson and demonstration that you can hopefully play along with at home. You can learn a composition that I'll teach you with the idea that you could record yourself playing this composition, send it in, and we will kind of mash it up for a performance that we'll share during Camp Twin. So the piece that I'll teach you today is called Matsuri Daiko. And this means like festival drums, and in North America it usually refers to a specific composition credited to Tanaka Sensei of San Francisco Taiko Dojo, coming from his time studying with Ueru-Skuroku, one of these pioneering kumidaiko or group ensemble drumming groups from Japan. And so in North America this song is one of these like kind of first pieces a lot of players learn. It's a very well-known and common song, inspiring like many types of sampling and use in other songs as well. It's a common motive. In Japan, it's not so much a specific one kind of arrangement. Or not a specific piece. It's a style of drumming that's kind of unified through the use of a specific Ji or Ji-Uchi backbeat that kind of underlies the rhythm and the feel of the song. And so I'm going to start by teaching you that Ji-Uchi, and we'll do that on the Daiko medium-sized drum. This is a style of drum that we make them out of wine barrels and cowhides and tacks. We make and maintain our drums in our club, but this style of drum comes from Miya Daiko, or these are the drums you would see in a Buddhist temple, for instance, right? Used during a song or a ceremony. But in the kumidaiko arrangements, these are often the drums that carry the lead parts. We call them the melody sometimes. They are played on beta, these kind of sky-facing stands, or naname, kind of slant stands. You probably see them at Obon and different times throughout the year. Okay, so to get into this Ji-Uchi, first I'll just talk about like two, or maybe three kinds of hits. The way when we approach Taiko, we kind of, and when we teach Taiko, we want to be able to emphasize, like, are we hitting the skin dome or pop the rim? Are we hitting it loud or soft? So I'm gonna use Kuchi Shoga. It's a like mnemonic kind of style of teaching, where we say dome, ko to represent hits on the surface of the drum, ka, ra to represent hits on the rim, and tsuku will represent like small hits on the surface. So that's going to be the kind of what I say, but I'll also kind of break it down in terms of left to right hits too as well. Okay, so the Ji-Uchi, I'll just play it first. Slower and break that down. So the line will be dong karara, kon dong, kon dong, kon dong, kon dong. Yeah, try it along at home. In terms of sticking, it's right, left, right, good. Playing along for a little bit. Okay, so I think the one tricky thing about this line maybe is just the placement of the kara. It's a polyrhythm. So I think probably best to just listen for that. Dong karara, kon dong karara, kon dong karaka, dong dong karaka. And maybe even sing it kind of helps you internalize the rhythm. So dong karaka, kon dong karaka, kon dong karaka, dong dong karaka, kon dong karaka, kon dong karaka, kon dong karaka, kon dong karaka. Okay. to do that same rhythm on the shime. When we play these shime, this is a style of drum that it comes from court music, theater music. It's usually part of an ensemble that's not just drums. It is the drum in kind of these light ensembles like for instance. So in Kumi Daiko, these often carry Ji-Uchi. They're the ones who often play the backbeat, but they can be used for a lot more too. They have a very different sound than the chu. And when we're playing on an instrument like this, a lot of times we're using a softer bachi. It's not as hard of a wood, so we can't hit the rims as much as we would, or sometimes at all, as we would with a kind of a bigger, sturdier drum. So for a drum like this, you would play the Ji-Uchi using softer hits. Sometimes we say teke and tsuku on these just to kind of express a different voice instead of tsuku. But so if I use that, it's the same thing. But I'm gonna try to just use what we established, do. Okay, so it would be do, tsuku, tsuku, kon, don, 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 tsuku, tsuku, kon, don. Okay, that's gonna be how we would play the backbeat on the shime. So, I think there's two ways you can kind of approach this. You can, if you have something that you can kata on and you like that sound differentiation in terms of the different kinds of notes, you might want to try that. Or even if you just have a nice sounding one surface you can't really kata, you can still play the Ji-Uchi on the same surface using dynamics. And a lot of what makes taiko sound good is when dynamics are actually executed well. So I just say this is actually just as important. Okay, one more time. Let's do a close-up of the shime playing the Ji-Uchi, so you can follow along at home using dynamic control. And we'll go a bit slow. We're gonna play don, tsuku, tsu, kon, 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 don. So I guess it's a good chance for me, maybe I should have started with this, to talk about how to approach a drum, how to stand at a drum. I think the easiest thing for someone to do, the most common thing, is to get too close to the drum, and it really prevents a lot of those good mechanics that will make good sounds and make kind of efficient playing too. So when you get to a drum, first of all, you're gonna want to give yourself some space, and then we use an asymmetrical stance. You can do a horse stance, which is kind of just shoulder width apart are your feet, the slight bend to your knees. From there though, what we tend to do, and it's because the drums are a bit low, we take that left foot, your left foot will stay where it is, your right foot will come back, giving your left leg a bit of this bend to it. But you don't want that knee to come over past 90 degrees, right? You wanna keep this relaxed. It should feel comfortable, because it's really supporting your body as you play, right? Not fighting against it. Your back leg, while your leg is straight, it's not locked, right? It's important that it's still relaxed, right? The more relaxed we can make the rest of our body, the more easily we can engage the larger muscles, right? And the more kind of holistic our playing can be. The more control we'll have, the more stamina we'll have as well. A lot of times when taiko, we like to think of the energy that we play with as coming from the earth through your body and then out through your hands and through the drum and back into the air, right? So this cycle of energy that comes from the ground and releases at the very end of this process through your hands. I think as a society, as maybe just as people, we do a lot with our hands, so we think of our hands as being kind of like hand-centric, kind of they're what's controlling it. So a lot of times you see people trying to play just with their hands, and it's really an inefficient and kind of hard to control way to play. The hand is the end of a whip, the end of a drivetrain, right? that starts actually in the ground. It starts with your very lower muscles, your legs. I think any of you, I mean, most of you play baseball, basketball, right? Same kind of principle, right? That it's your connection to the ground. It's your footwork and your legs that actually are really important for power, for control, for stamina. Okay, so let's try now. Maybe that whatever instrument you have in front of you, give yourself some distance. You can start if you want in horse stance, then spread that back leg out just a bit behind you, and you can widen the stance too. Particularly if you're tall, you might need to get even lower in that stance, right? But once you put your hand down with your bachi or spoon or whatever we're using, we want that to come nice and easy to the middle of the drum. Yeah, we're not going to. We really want to try to avoid any thing where we're having to bring our arms in. See, we've lost a lot of the connection from the body to now our moving elements. We really want to keep this all part of, all connected. The energy can flow through the body. Okay, that's how we say. Okay, so a big hit would be one donko, where we want to let that arm come up relaxed, just as if it's being pulled up by a string, like maybe tied around your wrist. Just comes up straight, right? With the arm fully extended. And then as we go to hit, we're gonna let our elbow kind of just collapse in, and then as if it's being pulled down from this elbow, kind of, right? So yeah, and just adding a slight flick at the end, but it's really being driven like throwing a ball. Like you snap your wrist at the end, but it's in that it's loose. It's already, a lot of that snap's coming from the fact that we've already moved and committed our weight to that hit, right? So the real way that you kind of hit loud is not really through your hands at all. It's just coming from the body, right? So that's a tip if you want to play taiko generally. But for today too, and I know everyone's kind of on their own setup, right? So I would also not worry too much about it. I think another lesson there is, like, I think when I teach taiko too, like, first you try to break all these bad habits and get people playing, like, in a way that's ergonomic and it's loose, right? But then to realize that there's other ways you can do that too, right? Like some really good players play in a horse stance, and I think if you're playing in a parade or something, sometimes you'll be not able to move as much too. If you're playing in a yukata, right? Like there's some pretty cool ways that play. There's other ways you can still use these fundamentals. We learned the Ji-Uchi, the backbeat of the song. We're gonna learn what we call the melody. It's the section, the rhythmic section, I guess. That it goes somewhere, right? It's overlaid over the backbeat, but it kind of tells a story. It goes off and introduces new concepts. That's why kind of like a melody, right? So for Matsuri Daiko, there's only 5 lines you need to learn. They're all relatively easy. They all end with that little kind of polyrhythmic phrase that we were using in the Ji-Uchi. And they're all just 4 counts in terms of don, 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 ka, 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 ka. Yeah, so I'm gonna teach them probably one at a time. Let you like master them all. Then we'll kind of string them together at the end. Okay. Okay. So for our first one, okay. So going back into our stance that we went over, we're gonna play. The line is don, don, don. Right, really letting yourself get big with this first motion, all the way up. Okay, so let's just we'll go slow and let's just loop that. Okay, you need technical. These things are. I think after that bone here, it goes to another right here. Right, left, right, 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 left. So there is a double hit in there if that's tricky. From striking the surface to hitting the cut, we employ a little bit of a wrist twist versus maybe instead of just coming down on it, you can kind of let it supinate, I guess, right? With the wrist a bit. Trying to hit maybe like a 10 and 2 on with the rim of whatever you're playing. Okay, so let's do that just a couple more times and then we'll move on. See if okay, for the second phrase of Matsuri, I want to introduce it now. It's going to be don don hop don don. So it has right left hop right left kara ka ka. That hop is one as vocalized kiai, just an expression of energy. So you can say something like hop. Usually kiai are nice when they're kind of short and direct syllables. And that they come from your hara, that they're not so much the throat. Hup! It'd be good if it's hup from the core. Okay, so I'm just gonna loop that line for a bit. How about a don don hup don don ka 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 ich ni so re. Hup. So the third line for Matsuri is going to be hop kon don ka 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 ka. Okay, hop don. So like the last line, it has kiai hop don ka 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 ka. So let's loop that one slowly. Ich, ni, so, hop. So that's the third line. Let's string lines 1 through 3 together. Okay. So from the top. Okay, so we're gonna do lines 4 and 5 now for Matsuri. These ones. Lines 2 and 3 kind of had that up and down, they're kind of syncopated and vocalization. Lines 4 and 5 are going to kind of be united by their motives of kind of use of fast karas, okay? So for 4, so listen to the syncopation. Okay, so let's slow that down a bit and we'll put that on there. Doko ka ka don don ka 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 ichi ni so re i. So that's line 4. Line 5 is going to sound like. So by itself a bit slower. It's doko ka don don don. So 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. Okay. Each. So. Okay, so let's try putting 4 and 5 together and just looping those. Okay, so each, so, good, let's do it again. That's all 5 lines. Let's string them together now. Let's do 1, 2, and 3 as a unit, and then 4 and 5 as a unit, and then we'll combine those two together. Okay. So just for now, and you know, you can take these as sections. So if you wanted to kind of rewind and just like work on just section by section, you can do that. Okay. So the first 1, 2, and 3. Let's play that together. Right, so a reminder. So that's going to be don, kon, don, ka 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 ka, don don, hop, don don. Ka 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 ka, hop don, ka 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 ka. Okay, let's play that. Okay, good. So that's 1, 2, and 3. If you need to rewind and do that one again, you can do that. And from here, we'll go on to sheeting 4 and 5 as a unit, which we already did when we learned them. But just again, let's just do it here. Remember that is doko kara don don ka 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 ka. Doko kara don 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 ka 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 ka. Okay, so let's put the whole song together now. Let's say it together slow, and then we'll play it together slow, and then we'll do it a little bit faster and then a little bit faster, okay? So let's say it together. Okay. Ich, ni, so, re. Don, 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 ka, 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 don, don, hop, don, don. Ka 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 ka, hop don, ka 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 ka, doko kara don don, ka 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 ka, doko ka ka don don don, ka 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 ka. So let's do the whole song, and we'll go a little bit slow. But I will say the kuchi shoga while I play the first time, and I will say like right or left for sticking the second time through. Okay. So if you need to just kind of rewind and watch one of those, you can do that. Okay. So let's take it nice and slow. Don, 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 ka, ka, ka. Ich, ni, so, re. Don, 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 ka, ka, shoga or the pneumoneck. And so one way to practice this is it's really helpful to be able to say the kuchi shoga, particularly if you're struggling with the rhythmic placing. If you're kind of having trouble, those are not evenly spaced beats. It's not just a dynamically accent, it's a spacing. So that's like a polyrhythmic, something you can do at home. This is for fun, you don't have to do this. But so if we wanted to, let's count by 6. And I want you to stomp on 1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then maybe I want you to try it at the same tempo. Can you divide that by 3 notes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's use our hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. So one of those is a rhythm by 2, one's by 3. If you put them together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I can't breathe. Okay. So that's kind of the underlying feel. That's what that it's a 2/3 polyrhythm. As opposed to okay, so let's do one more time. Just run through some Matsuri. We will. I'll just play it once, kind of facing the camera, and once with a little bit, so you can maybe see the sticking if that helps. Okay, let's just play don don don. It's a little bit up tempo. Okay. From where we were before. Okay. 1, 2, それ。One little thing that we can add on to that is we already learned the Ji-Uchi, the backbeat. So generally after a set number of melodies, generally it's 2, we're going to throw in 2 measures of the backbeat. So after is a tagline that would be used to end the song or to send it into like a solo section. All right. So I'm gonna just do that real quick, and we'll see if we want to use this for composition. Okay, it's gonna be like we talked about the Ji-Uchi on the shime, where we use big and little hits to differentiate the hits. I guess. Don tsu kon don tsu kon don tsu kon don and ka. Okay, that's gonna be the tag. Okay, so let's go one more time then, just for practice. We're going to play melody twice, followed by a tagline, okay? And then after the tagline will be a solo section. So if anyone wants to solo on top of that Ji-Uchi, I'll provide a blank track that you could solo over. Solos can be variable length, but they should come back in at the start of a measure such that like you'd use the same tagline to end your solo, and that'll just line up with the shime. Okay, so let's do melody twice, tag once, and we won't go too fast. And I think for our performance, so how about we take it as don 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 ka ka ka. How about that? 1, 2, それ。Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be the structure of the song.